in the church has to come to an end. This comes after a recording of a telephonic conversation between the Reverend Vukile Mihana and Raymond Sibanga made the rounds on social media. And to talk to us more about this, we're now joined in studio by the incoming coordinator for Women in Ministry, Reverend Jenny Samdan, and a member of the Women in Ministry, Reverend Dix Sibego. Ladies, thanks very much for joining us. Welcome back. The last time we had this conversation, the story, I think, had literally just broken and people were still reacting. More than a week later, you took to the streets today. Why?
We took to the streets because we feel that the church isn't listening. There have been numerous policies, there have been numerous statements, and the church carries on to appoint men in leadership. And we are saying, please, would you not consider appointing women? There are capable women in the church in all structures, from laity to the connection to ministers. So it's about time that women actually take their rightful place and lead.
As you've been approaching them, what have they been saying to you, particularly after the Mihana comments?
I think the women, not only women ministers, lay people in the church, even our male colleagues and other male leaders, it has been more like something needs to happen. We have been talking about this, it has been more like a theory, but now we need to talk about praxis. So something is happening, and last time Jenny referred to as God's moment, and this for us, it has been a gift from God for us to be able.
So tell me who joined you in the march today. Who is in solidarity with this cause?
Okay, well, we had women from the different districts. So we had Limpopo, we had Gauteng, we had Highveld in Swaziland, we had women from Cape Town, we had women from Bloemfontein. Women from the church in general, as you can see from the clips, Women's Manano, the Women's Association, our male, as Dick said, our male colleagues. So there was a groundswell of different people. So it wasn't just the ministers marching, it was all the women in the church. And at the press briefing, one of the women from another district stood up and said, we want to hear what the church is going to say. And she was a lay person in the church, not a minister. And she was saying, we want to know. And our presiding bishop was there at the press conference. He didn't say anything. The presiding
bishop, is that the most senior person in the church?
Yes.
So he was there. What did he say?
Because we commented about all structures in terms of balancing gender in all leadership positions, in terms of 40% of men, 40% of women, 20% of young people. And the coordinator, Reverend Lebaka Kitsabile, responded to clarify what we mean about the policy of that nature, and did refer to the fact that the presiding bishop is around, and the presiding bishop indicated that the response is actually exactly what.
Did he actually say anything?
Not really.
This for me, and I wanted to get to this because it just speaks to this whole story, really, that the most senior person in this church, and you're basically taking this to him,
to his office,
and he had nothing to say. That must have disappointed you.
It disappointed me because I felt it was an opportunity for him to be able to say, look here, at least we've heard you, we've seen you here, we acknowledge that you are here. And moving forward, we need to move forward as a whole church, and the leadership is with you. But we didn't get that.
I think again for me, his presence also meant a lot, because he could have decided not to come.
But he had
the fact that he
had
came.
To come though, surely.
Yeah, but
surely. For
me, the fact that he came, and we can say he's present for him to respond to some of the questions. It does say something. So in terms of the way forward.
What happens now? He's heard, he's seen, and some might say that it's a shame that this church had to be shamed in public to take action. This could have been done around a table when you started your women's in ministry movement, right?
Yes.
So what happens now?
Yeah. For me, I think we need to take on the church in terms of educating our people, helping our people to understand what we're talking about in terms of leadership, helping women to understand that they actually can be leaders, helping men and women to accept that there are women in leadership and that they are competent, that they are able to do the work as well as, if not better, than some of our male counterparts. So I think it's for us to now continue the momentum.
Right.
I think we can't sit back and say, well, we had a march and now it's done. We need to now decide what are we going to do going forward.
Right. Reverend Dix, the last time we spoke, you explained this vote of no confidence that you went through, and you also explained how people get voted into positions. I wonder, I mean, I've seen political parties do this. The ANC is very good at this. The votes come in, a list of names comes through, and then they say, yes, this is great, but we still need 100 women. And no matter where they are on that list, they get their 100. Could that be the way that the church will do it? Is that, yes, vote, but from there we're starting with 40% women must be represented. Is that a solution, perhaps?
For us, you know, in the light of today's march and what we have been talking about, this is where the church is going. And we're saying from this year, 2019, not 2020, any elections that comes up, whether laity or bishops, even the presiding bishop, once those elections comes in, women needs to be considered.
All right, so again, this has happened publicly, and I just wonder if, is there going to be any kind of, or have you experienced any kind of backlash from the church for going out in public like this?
No, I've only experienced support, encouragement, and I think women and men are saying now is the time. Right. That this, as I said last time, it's a God moment. God has given us this opportunity, a kairos moment. Yeah. We need to take it and we need to use it.
Yeah.
My understanding is that there are still some constitutional issues where there are parts that are written that says a man belonging to this order within the church is the only one who's allowed to do X, Y, Z. Does that exist? No.
You see, our constitution is very clear. It speaks about a minister.
Yeah.
It doesn't say a male minister or a female minister. The constitution is clear. A minister must do this. A minister must do that. A minister
there are no gender references whatsoever?
No.
All right.
But unfortunately, because we have not had many women ministers in leadership positions. Yeah. So automatically those positions will be assumed by male ministers and their spouses will automatically assume the position. But in places where women have been in positions and they are aware and they are empowered to know that they can run with organizations, so that has not been an issue. But it's more, as Jenny is saying, more training, more empowerment, more workshops needs to take place.
So at the press conference, I heard that sadly this is a norm and that the Mihanas of this world represent a majority thinking of men in the church. Is that really true?
Yeah. I would assume that maybe not a large majority, but a majority. Otherwise, we would have had women in leadership.
Right.
But I think many of the men, they won't say it, but they believe it, they practice it, that men are stronger than women, that men are better than women, that men can do this. Tradition says men must do this. So I think that a large majority, not a large majority, but a majority, definitely do think that way.
So we've got a presiding bishop in Southern Africa.
Yeah.
Does the Methodist Church operate like the Catholic Church, where the head man sits somewhere in Rome or somewhere? Is there someone who's right at the top of the Methodist movement in the world? Because my question is, have you been able to take this higher? If Southern Africa has really not come to the party, have you been able to take it higher?
We haven't at the moment. When we speak about the Methodist connection, we're speaking about Southern Africa, so that includes Mozambique, Swaziland, Lesotho, Namibia. So Mozambique. So our presiding bishop is the presiding bishop over all those churches, but he's the highest that we can go. Okay. We can then call on women in other connections. So we can call on the women, say, in the American connection or in the British connection.
But they have no jurisdiction.
But they have no jurisdiction.
So it's almost like franchises in different parts of the world.
Yes. And for instance, in South Africa, we have Methodist Church of Southern Africa, which includes the other countries. Then we've got the United Methodist Church, which is a completely different leadership structure, functioning structure, and so on. So only at the end do we actually meet for conferences, but we are actually separate.
All right. We've run out of time, but are you hopeful that this is the moment and something's going to happen?
I believe something is going to happen, and I believe this is just the beginning. Okay. We're not going to sit down and say everything will take place. The struggle continues.
All right. Thank you very much for joining us. You can imagine, for people like me watching, it's remarkable that in a church that would hear words like struggle and fighting for rights, it's quite a thing. But we wish you the best. Thank you so much indeed for joining us.
Thank you so much, Peter. Thank you so much.
Okay.